Our mics are hot. Mine's hot. Not very fast.
I think it has become your best friend.
Maybe.
No, it's not my best friend. Well, we've been, since I did these things with the Australian, and I've been discussing their bone too. And, you know, what happens to, you know, they act like we have to convince them everything about that. All they are is a freeloader.
Well, I didn't know what that was.
But we have been looking for a place to put them and possibly do something different because the rehab of that building is so outrageous that it's not an option. So we're looking at what we can do with the land, either that we own or we've talked about another spot to do. Or if we could get a piece of ground that I think would be a great place, but we have to talk to another governmental agency or another tax district, see if they'd sell us a piece of land or not to build something and build a building that would them. The ones I don't want to lose is something for them and for the food bank. And you know, they all seem to forget that 8 years ago, if it hadn't been for me and Russ Darn and Randy Pop, he'd been on the street already because Doug Frank was throwing them out. Mm-hmm. Going to call the public hearing to order for the Alba annexation and the Town Square replat. Are there any comments on those? Well, mine's on.
Oh, there you go.
It's been on the whole time.
Oh, it was just having an issue here.
Okay.
When we're talking about this annexing of this property to the town, my one question was, this is to be for single-family residential housing. Is this correct?
I think, yes, that's what it, and that's what it is right there,
The
yes.
single housing.
There's a house on it. She built a house and she's on city water and sewer, so she's annexing it because by ordinance she has to.
And are there other properties there that could have houses built on them as a result of this annexation?
No, on her piece, no. But there's property on to the west that's not in town that could be annexed in at some time if they wanted to break it up and sell it as housing lots.
But it is not part of this property?
No. It's just a single property. It's a single-family dwelling piece of property.
I have a question. On the little map that was on the card that we got,
Mhm.
a great big blue circle. I couldn't even see the blue circle, let alone the markings. But the comment that anything within 200 whatever of that property, what is the impact that has on anything?
The only reason that is there, Jan, is any on a replat you have to contact all the property owners within 200 feet of that property to inform them that we are replatting it. It has no effect on you whatsoever.
And what does the replat mean?
It's replatting and breaking up the ground of how we, since we put the town square there, to replat where part of the Kimball Park is, what is town square, what breaks out we're breaking out the Lincoln building as a separate piece. So it's just a replat by the town to make it fit for what's going on there.
Well, that's what my question is. Can you explain what that means to everything around you? There's one area in the back. I have no idea on that map what piece of ground you're even talking about in replatting or annexed. Maybe I'm just blind.
Well, our engineers aren't here this evening. The replat includes all the property that the town owned, what used to be where the motels were. That was a separate piece of property. The street, Aspen Street, part of Fifth Street, part of the part of the Kimball Park, and all the open area that was behind the Lincoln building that since the town owns all of it, we have to put that in a plat that still leaves the street right of ways there into the hard surface, and that breaks that into the pieces of property how we want to plat that. Maybe that picture shows you a little bit, or I'm not sure what. I saw the little picture that came out was sent out by CEPI on that card, and it was a terrible piece of how it got done.
Well, it encompasses all the way over to 4th Street.
Well, it goes from 4th to 5th Street, yes, because we own all that there.
So you're replatting it for something different than what it was used for before?
Yeah, there was different stuff there. The motels were there. We owned all the property where that's at. We own Kimball Park's the town. The streets are the towns.
Where is the piece of property located that's being annexed?
The piece of property that's being annexed is down on the corner of Platt and 6th Street. It's a county. It's a
Down to Platt?
that's a totally separate. That's a totally separate deal. That has nothing to do with the town square replat.
And what about zoning? No changes in
No change in zoning. No.
That's very interesting. That's a huge blue circle on that little map that shows up.
I don't have the card, so I don't know what the blue circle was.
Well, it's the picture's this big, and it's the whole.
The line around it I thought was yellow, but
No, there's a blue drawing in a circle that shows the area covering anything and everything within. And if your property, any property, was within 200. Oh, we got one.
we got one. Maybe we can explain it because I'm just guessing.
It's pretty little on that. Jesus.
Now, I got my readers on, so let me see if I can explain it.
Still couldn't figure out what they were talking about.
Okay, actually, the replat in there would be. Oh, they what they circled was that's the blue encompasses property within 200 feet of the town property. So that's who had to be notified.
That's almost up to the bank,
Well, not quite.
just about.
No, really it ain't.
Well, it looks like it is on there.
But what's being the replat is actually what's there is in yellow.
Oh, well, good God.
The blue is who we had to notify. Okay,
Okay.
And we're also vacating Aspen Street.
we're vacating part of Aspen Street. Yes,
It'll be closed off.
yes.
For safety.
So what is Aspen Street going to be turned into?
It's part
It's through the middle of town square.
Yeah,
The street that brings you into it? You mean from
There's two pieces that are still dedicated for part of Aspen Street, but all of Aspen Street between 4th and 5th Street, part of it will no longer exist.
so you drive in from both ends and they don't meet in the middle, right?
Yeah, you can't meet in the middle. We're paving the alleyway and in behind the Lincoln Building and down that alleyway. That's the 4.5. What is that? The 4.5 alley, and out around on what's left of Aspen, past the Boys and Girls Club. So there's access to the parking back there, public parking there. We're also going to pave the alleyway down, which would be the
actually 4.5.
4.5 behind the 4.5 behind the Higgins. The other one's 5.5 block. We're going to pave that alleyway. We're repaving that piece of Aspen Street there. We purchased the land that the rock bottom used to be on. That's there. That is coming down. That will become a big public parking area, and there'll be some parking right there against the basketball court at Town Square. But that will all be paved so we can capture the storm water and stuff. And
Short subdivision, it said that's all replatted. Where is that?
Shorts is replatted there. That's the old piece of that was done several years ago. That's the piece that was the old lumberyard piece of property that we ended up with when we got all the stuff from Jan Charles Gray,
Okay.
and we sold that to them for what?
That's part of that.
For what? No, that has nothing to do with our replat. No, that's their own.
It's listed on your card. Short subdivision is all going to be part of the platting.
Well, it may. I don't see how we're doing that right there. I thought it was just for the town square. So.
Well, I was just curious because that's what it looks like, but that will be part of it.
It says you as property owners or residents within 200 feet of a radius of the perimeter of the subject property are hereby notified of public hearing. You may submit in writing comments to the town clerk at our post office box or by email to our clerk prior to the town council meeting. You may also attend the public hearing listed on this card and please written or oral comments at the time. Depending on the number of people wishing to speak, the mayor may limit your time to make your presentation. The thing says of intent to vacate and replat portion of Block 5, Lot 1 through 12, Block 4, Lot 16 through 22, Town of Glen Rock, Lot 1. Short, simple subdivision. So they did add that to replat it because it adds it to theirs. It's what the piece that they bought from us and that part of it that went with that lumberyard property came up just right against on the backside of our pathway that's up there.
So what you're doing is giving permission by replatting to have another development?
No, it's not a development. We just have to replat it so it meets our zoning and zoning and planning and zoning ordinances.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
When I called the engineers to talk about this, the way that he explained it to me, to make it very simple, was that it was just housekeeping. These were different lots, and since it's becoming town square, they're cleaning it up on the plat so that it's one lot, and then the stuff that was sold to Short is being
Just separated. It was a separate plat of property, but it's never been added to their other property. But the blue was to inform properties around it.
Looked like a very large area.
Yeah, for that little spot, and if you don't know the blocks and what the streets are in there, which is hard to see, yeah, if it's a very poor card on behalf of our engineering firm. They're not here. We can blame them.
yeah.
So are we making that piece that Short bought one solid piece of short property, or is that still going to be a separate piece?
Well, it just ties it stays as a piece for them, but it also it truly ties it to their other property that's right there. It's if you see how the red lines are, it leaves it separate where they could sell it.
Yeah.
You want to borrow my glasses?
Yeah.
And that's up to them. Yeah, this should have been a lot bigger picture for people to see. Normally in a replat, something like this, just usually you get notice that we're doing a replat or an annexation or a subdivision or something, and you wouldn't have gotten a picture anyway, so I don't know why a picture was put on it. But does that help explain it to you?
It does, because I thought it was going to encompass bits and pieces all the way around.
No.
Throughout the blue circle, and a lot of the people by me thought.
And the engineer explaining to Tammy is exactly what it is. It's just housekeeping, straightening up what we've done down there. Doesn't affect anybody else. You just have to be notified that we were doing the replat. Okay? Any questions about the Abaw annexation? It is a county piece of property that has a single-family dwelling on it, and she's annexing into the town of Glen Rock. If there's no other comments or questions on those, we will close the public hearing and we will open the town council meeting. Will you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In additions and deletions, we will need a motion to add a executive session for the litigation.
Yeah, I'll move for executive session for our litigation issues.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the March 14th, 2022 council meeting and executive session minutes?
I move that we approve the March 14th council meeting and the March 14th executive session.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. On to reports. Councilman Moulton.
We've had some Elevate meeting, maybe a Deer Creek meeting, I can't remember. We got another Deer Creek meeting the 6th of April, Wednesday, I think, here in Town Hall at 6, and then another Elevate meeting the 7th, the 6th at the Chamber. We are doing interviews for an administrator, director. We haven't come up with a term yet this Wednesday. Keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully
Hopefully you get somebody hired.
get somebody hired, yeah.
Okay. Councilwoman Fonts.
I have nothing.
Okay. Councilman Kincaid.
Just that participated in the council workshop for Town of Glen Rock issues last week. And then last week, took a tour. Randy was down at the town square and graciously took us through all the interior buildings and the plans down there, how it works, the water park and everything. It's pretty impressive. Soon you'll be able to see all that, and Glen Rock ought to be very proud of it. A lot of good things coming up this summer. I mean, it's getting booked, so it was real impressive, and we should be proud of it. And then I'll be attending the Commissioners' Quarterly meeting this week.
Okay. Councilwoman Nunn.
Little aid and assistance here. There we go. Thank you. The totem pole project is complete. The totem pole is again watching Glen Rock pass by. Much thanks to Randy, April, and the town crew for transporting it around, to Scott Gilbert for designing and building the base mounting plates, and for my husband for faithfully following along and always ready to help me with this project. I hope you enjoy it. He's bright and shiny. Thank you. All right, next. The Converse County Community Block Grant. the board is doing some restructuring. We have a vacancy on the board. So if you know of a person interested in serving with this board, please let me know. The program is working its way forward with people committed to helping people in our community. The ERAP federal program is working to take advantage of this funding to assist people in our community. Judy Gonzalez is the contact person for this program here in Glen Rock. She has the knowledge of how the program works to help people and how to apply for it. Her office is upstairs in the Ortiz Business Center down there on Birch Street. And I'm sorry I don't have a phone number for her or a office hours right now. I will try to get those for you. The Solid Waste District mulching project of the green pile continues. The current plan includes using the mulch materials as part of the cover for the pit closure project. The mulching is little less than half complete. Mulching and firewood are still available to the public for free. Contact Crystal, the landfill manager at the dump, if interested in these materials. A rather interesting thing that I found out about the landfill, there is no water available for use on the site of the dump. At one point, water on the site was illegal. This issue may need to be addressed in the future. Drop station construction is still in progress to develop 2 drop stations. If interested in this construction, please contact John Maines, President of the Landfill Board. Pit dumping, as it now exists, is scheduled to end July 31st, when these 2 drop stations should be in operation. And I had a couple questions, if I may. Tammy, you mentioned that we were applying for county funds. For what were we applying?
I mentioned that if we were interested in applying for county funds, the applications are due on the 8th of April.
What kind of funds are those that are available?
Like last year, how they gave us money for the Boys and Girls Club to put towards the club. So it would be if we have projects or something in particular that we need help with or we would like them to contribute to.
April 8th.
April 8th.
All right, and then I wonder, where do we stand on this idea of no dogs, no smoking in the, or skating in the town square? Are we getting anything done to get the ordinance updated and approved so that we can enforce that?
Not yet. We just had that
We
meeting.
just had that discussion Friday.
So we're still in the process of trying to keep that area, okay? Coulter, what is involved in an active shooter training program? That sounds interesting.
You mean the training that took place at the schools?
Yeah, what is that?
So what we train with them is actually, it's the ALICE program. It's actually what they would do in the event of an active shooter or active killer situation. So we actually go in and I train the staff.
For that?
Of the school, yes ma'am. Teachers and paras and such.
Unfortunate, but very necessary.
Yes ma'am, sadly so.
Thank you. And then, Lyle, you said that you had an issue with a stamp on some building trusses. Did you get that resolved happily?
We're in progress.
But that's moving along okay, and we're going to get the building up, and the world's going to be happy. All right, sounds good. Mandy, one question. What is going on with the enterprise right now?
So, really it's kind of quiet. We're just getting ready. Presented the budget last week, so they'll vote on that. We did, their Main Street gave an update. They're pretty active in their flower planting. Let's see, they're also going to join the national conference, the 2-day weekend conference, the Wyoming conference. One of them is actually. And then, let's see here, what else is going on over there. They are really trying to push through on their rec center. They're having meetings, planning meetings to get that going. The city administrator was in a limbo last week, so nobody was there to represent the city. He started on Monday today, and he's an intern. So the town of Douglas has an interim administrator. So they're really trying to work with them on the rec center, but it's kind of in limbo. It's kind of on hold right at this moment with the intern administrator not being there. What else is going on?
Sounds busy.
Busy. Budget. Everybody's preparing budgets.
Is there anything exciting coming up on the state fair?
Well, the whole fair is exciting.
Well, I mean, really exciting.
But what about-
Super exciting.
What about the county fair?
Well, I see that you were at the state fair. All right, we'll go to the county fair first.
The county fair is going to be exciting this year.
What's new?
We are going to do a big concert, but we'll wait to release who's coming to play on that Saturday, the 23rd. That Sunday, we've extended to do a ranch rodeo. We found a new contractor for pig wrestling.
Take part, Lori.
We're still looking for a few judges and barn directors, I think like the swine directors. So if anybody's interested in that kind of fun stuff, let me know. And we did just hire a fair manager.
Oh, good.
Mel Moore, and we're super excited to have her.
Is that for the county fair or the state fair?
That's the county fair.
Oh, good.
Yes, and the state fair is super busy. Courtney said they are booked out 2023. So the fairground is super busy.
Excellent. Life is sounding good. Bruce? No questions.
Well, thank you. Don't know if I'd had an answer for you, but thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy, clerk.
Margaret, I think that the totem pole looks awesome.
Isn't
It's so
it
bright.
cute?
Yes, I did a good job. The quarterly scholarship applications are posted on the website. I put them on Facebook and gave them to the school. Those are due April 27th. The aid to others allocation requests are due to the town on April 8th. And we have Big Broom and Trees for Trash scheduled. The Trees for Trash will start the afternoon of May 5th, as soon as we can get the trees up there, and it'll go on until they're gone. And Big Broom is May 9th through the 13th. So if you need a pickup, you need to call Flory at Town Hall and schedule an appointment. That's all I have.
And Tammy, they still will not pick up tires, correct?
No tires, refrigerators,
Refrigerator,
freezers,
anything with Freon or cooling.
no cars.
No cars and no tires. They're charging more for us to take care of the tires that show up there now. They have to be transported to Casper, so we're not taking tires. Kelly, treasurer.
Just working on budget, and that's about all I've got right now.
Okay.
Coming up quick.
All right. Yeah, that's coming really fast. Randy, Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The crew's been busy with meter and meter pit upgrades, street sweeping, meter reading, and sewer washing and cameraing a few sewers around. They're out South Rec building the Babe Ruth field out of the one ball field. I told them that we couldn't do the power poles or fencing until new budget because I didn't have any of that budgeted because they asked, 2 months ago? So they said they could at least play on with what we're doing right now. We're moving the bases and everything, so.
Yeah, I've been keeping contact with them, and they're very appreciative. Mike is, and they understand we do a little bit at a time.
Yep.
Do phase 2 maybe next year.
But they do have a place to play.
They will have. We're still working on it. We got all the sod cut out that we needed to take out and moving the bases, so.
Oh,
This will
exciting.
help them have home games. They've been on the road all the time, so.
Yeah, the school district took their
Field.
the base football field out, so they asked us if we couldn't make one of our fields meet the regulations for Babe Ruth.
So.
And the only other thing I got, I'm with the councilman Moulton Wednesday, noon to, probably 2 for the interviews for the directors.
12 to 3.
So, just want to let you know I'll be on that day. Other than that, that's about it.
Okay. Andy, Community Development.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just been working on Town Square event planning. Grand opening is scheduled for June 3rd and 4th. We're going to have the ribbon cutting and live music on the 3rd, and then on the 4th, Vive would like to do a barbecue, and then we'll have live music all afternoon and games and vendors. And then that's about it. Lots of event planning. We'd like to do Friday nights in the square, so on Friday nights we either are doing some sort of activity for the community. And if anybody has any ideas or wants to see something at Town Square or any game ideas, or a lot of the local bands and musicians have reached out to us, so it's super exciting that we'll have a lot of music. But if you guys have any other ideas or things that you'd like to see, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. And that's it.
When you call City Hall, we haven't got Mandy in one of the spots on the phone, so pick up the phone and talk to probably Tammy upstairs or anybody. Just pick one up and they will transfer the phone call to her. We need to build a subdirectory to be able to get her a number to be able to get to her directly. But just pick one of the numbers and we'll get you transferred to her so you can talk to her.
I have a question for Mandy.
Sure.
Mandy, I was overlooking at the skate rink, and it's all cement. Is there going to be a walk path so you can get around to the benches?
Yes.
To sit?
We've discussed that today, and yes,
Okay.
we're working on that. So yes, we'll be
Okay, and are they going to have any seats on the cement? Because if those kids fall and hit that cement, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we changed the size of the basketball court from what it would have been over here. So we've had to figure out what we were going to do for the size of skating area we'd put on the court there for the wintertime. And we can't go total edge to edge for people walking across it, slipping and falling, because it is slick. So we need to move it inside of it so there's a walk area around it. We need an area for people to be able to put on their skates and not tear them up on the concrete and damage our surface. So there'll be a walk area. There is seating in the concrete around there and over by the 2 fire pits. And we will, when we reduce that size of that a little bit so you can get around it, we'll also incorporate a bumper edge on the rink area so they don't go flying off onto the concrete, and more likely a handrail system around it. That's all. I'm sure will be all part of it. We do know that just the surface itself is about approximately 66,000. So,
And there is going to be a fence so the little darlings don't go running out across that acrylic skate. I'm hoping parents can grab them before they get out there.
We're going to,
have some kind of barrier to keep
I think you could have Constantine wire. They're still going to get out there.
So I didn't know if you'd be able to,
Right.
because you don't want them just tearing
Yeah.
off and going across there.
As we start looking at that, we'll definitely keep that in mind. 'Cause
Okay.
that's- Yeah.
Some kind
That
of
looks pretty nice.
rubber walkway around the periphery
Yep.
of those seatings where they can walk on their blades.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mandy talked to, we know what they did up at the David Street station. They ended up having, because of theirs is actually a refrigerated system, they had to buy padding to lay down out there between the building and that, so they had something to walk on and not damage the skates and not tear up their ice too. So,
Mandy,
Thank you.
do you think there's any need for any kind of fencing around that ice rink so we know that people are not going to be able to get in there at night and, a 15-minute destruction project?
Right. I think that, we'll, when we start looking at the ice skate, we'll look at seeing about rails and present,
Some
Make
kind,
sure you
some
get
kind of
aware.
security to know that people can't just walk across the street and have a skateboarding party or something.
The ice, yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely, that's it. Yes, we need to keep that in mind.
Thank you.
yeah, we've discussed the skateboarding and the other problem. They have a large problem with that going on at the David Street station. They had to do stuff to put things on the edges of the concrete and everything else to try to, in different areas, and changing the elevation there in their seating areas to stop it. But it's still ongoing. We know that there will be a problem with that. We're just going to have to figure out what we're going to deal with.
If we can protect our surfaces.
That would be the deal to try to do that. That's why I'm talking about the handrail around the rink if one gets put up, and the bumper on it to stop them from flying off of there out onto the concrete. Yeah, there's a lot there that we've got to figure out.
Thank you.
It'll be exciting. We're super excited about that. Yes, thank you.
That's been a couple hours worth of discussion upstairs. Chief of Police, Calder.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Councilwoman Nunn asked about the ALICE training. I did complete that at both the high school and the intermediate school last Friday. We will be conducting more training at all the buildings at the end of May, with that went really well. Got a lot of good feedback from the teachers on it as well. Our new Tahoe, or our new old Tahoe, I guess, as the case is, as long as it's been on order, I'm told will be available at the end of this week, so hopefully we'll be able to go down and get that picked up and get it out on the street. Lastly, I'm going to be sitting in on a demo tomorrow. The Wyoming State Senate approved some funds through the American Rescue Plan for a new some emergency medical dispatch training. I apologize, I'm a little congested tonight. This system will allow the dispatchers to train to better assist patients prior to the arrival of law enforcement, as well as EMS on medical calls. So it's pretty neat. The state is going to pay for that in full, it's a pretty expensive system. The one that we've been using is actually paper copies still, so we're going to update and actually get it onto a computer system. So pretty excited about that. Outside of that, that's about all we've got going on right now.
Any other questions for Calder? If not, we'll move on to Jared, IT.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. Just working on a lot of preparations for Town Square, so getting equipment in, audio equipment, networking equipment. The fiber, Randy's crew did a phenomenal job. They've got fiber pulled into the fire hall now, Public Works building here, Town Square, amphitheater. So we've got a company that's terminated all the fiber for Vive. They're going to stop by and do ours as well, so we'll get all of our runs terminated and then be able to get all of those buildings networked back here to our core. So that's going to be good, getting equipment in and getting that staged and ready for that fiber to show up, and we should be able to plug and play. We're also wrapping up. We got Carrie moved back into her office. She was temporarily over in the PD officers area, so we got her all rebuilt and put back into her office, and yeah, that's been about it for me.
Okay, any questions for Jared? If not, we'll move on to items from the floor.
Could I ask one question?
Yes, go ahead.
I see we're going to put some extra plug-ins for the food vendors and do some electrical work on the gazebo.
Mm-hmm.
Does that need to be put out for bid?
We actually have a bid for the cost of that right now, yes. But and the company that's doing the landscape work there, that's trenching in all the sprinkler system and stuff, has offered to trench what we need because we need to redo power down that alleyway and power to the gazebo. So they offered to do the trenching for us.
Okay.
So we took them up on that. So it'll bring the cost down. We needed to redo power to the gazebo one way or the other for part of that project, yes. Okay, items from the floor.
Yes, I'm up.
Make sure my mic's working. Mayor, Council, my name is Stuart McCrary. I am the Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Glenrock Paleon Foundation, who oversees and represents the Glenrock Paleon Museum. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because I know there's a timed thing. So I'm here to advocate for the museum and the 7 other tenants who are evicting from their storage units in the basement of the Lincoln Building, formerly known as the Bronco Building. So that everyone else in the room can fully be educated, I would like to present to you some dates and numbers for your consideration. I would like to talk to you about a little bit about the history of the museum. Some of the people in this room know some of this history, but I think it's important that everyone has some background and information. So let's get started. I'm going to start with some dates. 1995, the year the Paleon Museum was founded in the town of Glenrock. A young man was out wandering in the hills, found a dinosaur, through donations within the town and the bringing in of a famous paleontologist, world renowned Dr. Bacher, we were able to start the Glenrock Paleon Museum here. In 2000, the year the Glenrock Paleon Museum purchased the Bronco Building, now known as the Lincoln Building. 2002, the year the town of Glenrock contracted with the Wyoming Rural Development Council to assist Glenrock in visioning and strategic planning. The WRDC generated an extensive report from their research and made multiple recommendations involving the planning and development of Glenrock. These are quotes from their report that pertains directly to the museum, and I quote, "It goes without saying that the Paleon should be promoted to the fullest extent possible. The state of Wyoming already promotes dinosaur digs and museums on both its websites. Second quote, the Glenrock Paleon Museum is quite an asset to Glenrock and should be highlighted as much as possible. Third quote, the need to promote Glenrock came out as a major theme during listening sessions. Most often mentioned was the need to promote and enhance Deer Creek Days and the Paleon Museum, end quote. Wyoming Rural Development saw great value in the museum then, and they still see great value in us now. Now I'm going to skip a few years. We're at 2011. The town of Glenrock approached the Paleon Museum Board of Directors with a proposition. With agreement and partnership with the Wyoming Business Council, the town will purchase the building and property using CDBG grants.
Can I ask you a question there, Stuart?
Yes.
Why did the town have to do that?
The town didn't have to do it.
Yeah, the town did have to do it because you couldn't pay for the building.
We
Let's put it all out.
The town did not have to do it.
No, the town didn't, but you couldn't pay for the building.
We did not.
The building.
Why am I arguing with you?
I'm not going to argue. Let's put the truth out.
We did not approach the town approached us.
Yep.
Mike McQuarrie and Kathy Patsick approached the Glenrock Paleon Museum. We did not approach them. We know that as fact, right? You agree with me on that?
Yep.
Okay. So, CDBG grant money provided by the state. The town promises to the Wyoming Business Council and the Paleon Foundation within 5 years they will begin renovation and remodel of the building, providing housing and continuing existence of the museum and its collections, as well as providing housing for other businesses. This is not disputed. This is what they said. 2011, the same year, Randall Hine Architects provided budget cost estimate for the building restoration. His estimate is for primarily exterior renovation, replacement of all windows and doors, mason repair, roof repair, architectural and engineering fees. At that time, the estimate was $300,000. I do not have exact figures for the full renovation. I know the town did, but we never received those. But I believe it was approximately $1.5 million at that time, 2011. All restoration and renovation was to be paid using CDBG grant monies. No cost to the town. 2011, Saddleback Appraiser submits a report for the appraised value of the building and land. They appraised the building and the land at $777,000. 2012, the Paleon Foundation sells the building to the town for $181,000. Heck of a deal. And that was what we owed on it. Now we come to 2022. We move forward again.
How much was that?
$181,000 and change. 2022. After 2 damaging years of COVID, the Paleon is proceeding with our summer dig programs, expanding our molding and cast production, and adding 3-week course for college students from the University of North Carolina. This is all in addition to our regular tours and work, clean, and prepare fossils brought out from the field. This is a significant date, March 22nd, 2022. This is a specific date because this is the date that the town of Glenrock gave the Paleon and 7 other tenants their notice to vacate their storage units, our fossil vault, our molding and casting room, and our mechanical room. Now I'm going to switch to just some basic numbers. 39, the number of days we were given to vacate the basement. 11, the number of days 8 tenants, including the museum, will actually have since they are actively doing construction and we only have access to the basement on weekends and after 5 p.m. That's not factoring in the snowstorms we're going to be getting and other things. I can't speak for the difficulty of this to the other tenants, but I can speak for the difficulty at the museum. And I'm going to do it by the numbers. 56, the number of archive cases we have in our fossil vault, each weighing approximately 200 pounds. Take that into consideration. 56 weighing 200 pounds each. 11, the number of large rolling shelf units, each with 7 shelves. 3, the number of large fixed shelf units, each with 7 shelves. 43, the number of fossils weighing between 100 and 500 pounds currently housed in the vault that will need to be donated to other museums within the state and outside the state. That's 43, between 100 and 500 pounds. You can't get them out anywhere but through that garage door. 362, the approximate number of fossils singly or grouped in cases weighing less than 100 pounds that will need to be donated, sent to other museums out of state or within the state. 124, the number of cast molds that we'll have to remove from our fossil replicas. 120, plus an untold number of tools, dig tools, supplies, shelving, and cabinetry. That's all within our 11 days. Now we're going to switch to some other numbers. 1/3. The loss of revenue to our gift shop by losing molding and casting. 75%. The loss of our ability to prepare and clean fossils. We will lose 75% of our ability to prepare and clean the fossils we bring from the field. 100%. The loss of the museum properly collect fossil and house fossils. We cannot house and collect fossils if we don't have a place to put them. 100%. The loss of the museum to continue our science and education and dig programs. 100%. The closure of the museum. I'm going to leave you with some final numbers here. 15. The number of university students and instructors coming this spring from the University of North Carolina to participate in a university coursework. 21. The number of days those students will be staying in Glen Rock, staying at the Mabuhay, eating at the Classic, buying from the grocery store, buying gas, doing whatever else, maybe even hitting the bars for college students. 31. The number of days the instructors will be staying in Glen Rock for this coursework and research projects. 65. The number of visitors and instructors coming to Glen Rock for our paleo discovery digs. 3. The number of days each dig participant and instructor will stay in Glen Rock. Those are all pre-set up to stay at the Mabuhay. We've already pre-set up to have them eat at the Classic. 65 for 3 days. 1,400 to 2,800. The number of visitors that come to Glen Rock specifically for the museum. They were driving by, they came to the museum. $184,365. The average yearly revenue generated for the businesses of Glen Rock by the museum programs and visitors. $184,360 generated for the Mabuhay, the Classic, all of the other places within town. This is not the money the museum makes. This is what the town makes. $69,120. The profit for combined rents of the basement storage and the Paleon Museum, the amount pound made during the 10 years they have owned the building. $69,120 you guys made from the museum and the tenants in that basement in the last 10 years. $191,277. Total lost revenue to the town and businesses per year with the eviction of the basement tenants and the closure of the museum. 166. The number of people who have volunteered for the museum for the last 27 years, providing tens of thousands of hours of volunteer time for no monetary gain whatsoever, just for the town. And lastly, I'll leave you with this final number, 8. The number of parking spots you have said you hope to gain by the eviction of the basement tenants and the closure of the Paleon Museum. Shame on you.
Stay up there, Stuart.
I will. You got it.
The reason we're doing that was we have to put public parking there. Would you mind letting me speak? The public parking there isn't all just for the town square. We have to meet our own ordinance to provide off-street parking for that building. We shouldn't own the building. We shouldn't be in competition with private business in the town of Glen Rock. And what we made over the last 10 years hasn't paid all the bills and the power bills and water and sewer and upkeep of the building hasn't even come close. So that building doesn't pay for itself by no shape or form. That's why you guys got out of it.
I agree. You guys shouldn't be in the business of owning.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
You own the Commerce Block, which is way too big.
We shouldn't own it either.
But you do.
Well,
you've had years to sell it, and you never have.
Nobody's ever. It's been offered. Nobody wants to pay what it costs.
You shouldn't own the building, but you own it.
Yeah, we do.
That's the way. You shouldn't own the park. That's a profit-making business for the town, also.
No, it's
not in competition, but still.
It's not. It wasn't ever built for profit.
That's not my argument. My argument is the fact that you are closing down the museum for 8 parking spots.
When we got to building the stuff around that,
do you really think that the 8 parking spots are going to?
Can I speak?
Yes, please.
The spots there that are there now around that ramp becomes a very big liability to the town. Somebody walking and falling into it or backing out and driving off.
You've owned that building for 10 years. You've owned that ramp for the same amount of time.
Yeah, and there wasn't anything there around it that affected.
You've had that retention wall for 7 years, and it's never been a problem before.
It is, and it is now because of the improvements around that building.
Do you think that the amount of money you're going to put into filling that in, which I'm going to say is well over $10,000 for the change order you guys are going to get, the amount of money you're going to put into that would be less expensive if you just put a rail along the sides of it?
Costs much or more.
And then, if that's an issue, why isn't the big pit, which is the amphitheater, not a problem with the walls with nothing around them?
They meet code for height and
so these
because if
this
they were,
wall that
if
you
they were
put in
taller than
would
they
not-
were, they would have to have a rail, Stuart. They meet code in compliance with code.
So this one did not meet code for the last 7 years.
No, it hasn't, and it very much stood out.
You guys put it up.
You be quiet. You don't speak out of turn,
Hey,
or I'll have you removed. Simple as that, Don.
But I'm not here to argue.
No, I'm not here to argue either.
Give you our
But
facts
let-
of what you're going
okay.
to do. The fact is, the bottom line is, you're going to shut down this museum.
No, we're
for
not
your
wanting to
parking
shut the
spot.
museum
You
down.
are going to shut down this museum.
Can you let me talk?
Yeah, if you'll let me.
Yeah, I will. Let me explain to you what we've been talking about since we made that decision to get rid of the seven rental spots downstairs. Those are private individuals renting spots for storage at half or less than what
Actually,
anybody else.
There's a business too, don't forget.
Well, he's already moved out. He was paying $100 a month.
Right.
What do you pay for yours?
I pay whatever the amount, $48 a month, I believe, is what storage units prices are.
Your total cost that you pay for total use of the building is $200 a month.
Right, are you talking about the museum?
Museum.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't
But the
include-
storage, we don't need to be in competition with the rental storages around Glen Rock. So we decided it's best
Been in
to.
competition for them for 10 years.
Well, we're not the council that set that up. You know, and think about it. Who on the council?
So you've been on the council
Let me
for 3.5 years.
Let me speak. 8 years ago, what part of the council who came to protect you so that administration didn't throw you out on the street?
Oh, well, I agree. There was a portion.
And
of
I
the council.
still, please be quiet. Let's be civil with this. I still support the Paleon Foundation and the.
Then why are you evicting us and getting rid of us?
No, you're going to have to deal with the growing pains like everybody else. But the other thing we've been discussing, please let us speak.
Can we ask a question?
No, let us speak because we got something to say about what we've been trying to work on. We know that moving what you have downstairs, you guys can't do. You rely on the town to help you take care of that in there and what we're going to have to do. That basement is a disaster for what's in there now. And yeah, we're going to make sure that you get more, that there's going to be more time. You guys can't move out in the later days. You don't have the people to do it. So we've already had that discussion about how to help get things moved out, where to put your storage so you don't lose it. Or have to give your stuff away to other stuff. But you know, the other thing there, I expected you to be reactive and do just what you did, go to Facebook and whine, and poor pitiful us. Why didn't you be proactive and come talk to us? What we trying to think and figure out.
Proactive.
Why do we have to come talk to you? You're a renter. The door's open both ways, Stuart. You never come talk to us.
You were doing
ever.
something to affect.
Yeah, and we were trying to come up with a deal for you.
Why wouldn't you come to us and say, listen,
Let me tell you what our plans, what we've been working on.
This is what our plans. Why haven't you?
Because we haven't come up with a total plan,
Before
Stuart.
tonight, why haven't you?
Because it's taken more than that, because we didn't know what to do with you.
Why didn't you come with this plan beforehand?
We just
Before
knew
you
we
dropped
needed
the
to take
hammer.
care of that and get the junk out of the basement.
Why wouldn't you involve your tenants?
Well,
Whenever you're doing something,
one
wouldn't you
business
involve
and
the
7
people?
individuals. The business knew that he needed to move somewhere else, and he's already moving out. I think he's all but out.
He wouldn't have moved out if it hadn't been
that's what it
evicted.
You know what? For the space you have or everybody else has, I have less space than you do, and I pay $600 a month for my
We have a
spot.
huge amount of space, and we've always been grateful.
But let me continue
But
to
our
speak.
point
We were-
being is that we bring money into this town. That's the purpose of a museum. Randy, stay out of this, please.
Stuart, listen to what I got to say. Let's quit bannering. It's not solving anything.
Mayor's what we need.
Bill, go away.
All right, give me what you're going to say. I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Bye, Bill.
Give you the
Bye,
opportunity.
Bill.
Please let me know.
What?
What are you doing? What are you going to do?
We've been
I'm
discussing on what to do so you don't have to give your stuff away. We know that the town, as Public Works and our equipment, are going to be needed to move you out of the basement. We've been trying to figure that out. We also know that with the construction going on, we have to slow down the dirt work. Well, we've basically slowed it on that side because that's part of the project, and Andrew and Hunt can't do anything until we get that part done so they know you have to come out of the building. We figured we could get everybody out in that amount of time, so we have to make sure that we give more access up the ramp. I've talked to several other the people renting space. And we also have to finish cleaning out all the other stuff that's been thrown in and stored down there forever that shouldn't be there, that is just sitting there that was for past yard sales and stuff that's stacked in there in space that is not. Yeah, all the old seats that were in here are down there. That stuff that's stacked up there, there's stuff there that shouldn't be there. So we're going to help clean it out. We're trying to figure out what building or where storage could be to move you so you don't have to give it away. We're still trying to figure that out. But we will do the effort to do that. We've also discussed the cost of that building and renovation is way beyond what we need to. We've had, just to let you know, in the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 different inquiries about buying it. Two of them are to tear it down and build something different, and they don't. If they buy it, they don't care who's in it or what it is. And I've very much supported you guys and backed you. That's why we're trying to figure out what to do. We also just started discussing, since the fact that will eventually happen if we rehab the building. Right now, rehab of that building is probably $5 million or better. What has to happen?
Can't argue with you on that. I can only go on to the old numbers, and those are 10 years old.
There's the numbers back that the town came up with back in the day to rehab the building. What was going to be added
to block, and they were 10 years old. I understand that.
They were close to $12 million for the addition and the glass in the back of the building, Heinz and Associates did. But that's neither here nor there. That
wasn't realistic anyway.
But we're still trying to figure out where we can come up with a piece of property. We're trying to figure out what's the best bang for the buck. And that is, do we move you, we build a building, we kind of tighten your space for a little while. It's growing pains for all of us, but we don't want you to have to give it away. So we're trying to figure out whether we use the warehouse out at what used to be the warehouse that was part of A Square and the Sharps, or move you part of your bones into the back of the building at the Sharps. Found the building at this time because there's nobody moving into it. We also have it that we've had some inquiries on it. One of them probably is not going to come about, but we're looking at spots so it doesn't cost the town money to rehouse you and move you. Yeah, it's going to be some inconvenience, but we're also trying to figure out a piece of property either in our subdivision in the industrial park out there to come up with the money to build a building that's more bang for our buck. No, I'm not just concerned about you. The other ones that are in that building I'm concerned about, especially is our food bank.
We've agreed on that too.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that.
Yeah, we need to have some place for them to go to. So we're looking at what it's going to cost engineering-wise and what it would cost the town to build a building that's big enough, something that's probably better than 10,000 square feet. That's probably what would be needed with height for your future plans, for dinosaurs. And building in there, but it's going to take some time. So we're all going to have to deal with the growing pains. And we were trying to figure out how to make it work for you in the space that you've got, so we can make part of it work and make it not totally inconvenient. But it's a two-way street to talk to each other.
And I agree.
So we're working on it.
We were handed, and let me talk now. We were handed an eviction notice. We're not discussed with it before. That was just here.
Yeah, and the day that those letters went out, Randy and I have been talking about that since, whether we could leave part of your depository there that is light enough that can be taken up and down the stairways, and we knew there's stuff that has to go somewhere else.
Right.
We weren't leaving you in the cold to move it.
But we don't know this because
we haven't come up with a total.
Do you realize that everything that just happened between you and me and everything that I just did would not have happened?
Well, things have been busy for the town, and we haven't had time to go talk to everybody.
But you
could have come and talked to us too. You're in this building every day. You've been upstairs, not a word from you.
Once again, you just handed us eviction notice. He came in the Thursday before and said, we're thinking about closing it down. I flat out told him that if you do that, you'll close the museum. He flits out the door, and that's the last we hear until we're handed an eviction notice by him on Tuesday that we are all to vacate the building.
No,
do you have any questions?
It's just vacating the basement.
Vacate the basement. That's what I meant.
Don't say vacating the building.
I apologize. The basement.
Yes.
That's what. So to vacate the basement. If you have any questions, go to Tammy Taylor. I asked Tammy Taylor, does that include our work areas? She had no answer for me. So now here we are tonight because nobody's come and said, hey.
She should have said.
And what I've said multiple times, please let me speak a little bit. What I have said multiple times to multiple people was, why haven't they come and talked to us? I really hope that they will come and talk to us and say, hey, we've got a plan B for you guys.
Well, we've been trying to work that out so it doesn't happen before it's done.
Don't you?
If I don't have a plan totally built, I can't come talk to you.
And how can you plan doing something without coming and talking to us and finding out what you have to move? Or
well, we know what you got moving.
Now you do.
No, we know what was down there. I've been in the basement. I know what's in your deposit.
No idea what's down there. What we have down there.
I'm blind, and I didn't see anything 2 months ago when I walked through the total basement and looked at the total mess down there.
I don't know how you did because you couldn't get into our workspace because it's locked.
I can see into your workspace through the chain link. Don't tell me I can't see. I'm not blind.
You're talking the bone vault. I'm talking our workspace.
Your workspace is such a mess you can't see in there.
Right, because we cut boxes in there because I changed all the lights down there to save the town money.
Do you even look at the town budget? I mean, the town bills, what it costs us every month for power there? And most of it is you.
We try to do our little bit. I just spent multiple weekends putting in LED lights for the town to reduce costs.
Why are you doing electrical when it's a public building and it should be done by licensed contractors?
I came to you guys with the budget, and all you said to me was, when you get it done, contact Randy so he can contact Rocky Mountain Power.
The electrical should be done by licensed contractors.
Well, it doesn't.
And you know that.
Yeah. It wasn't hard.
But we're trying to work on something for you, so quit being reactive and let's see if we can't be proactive.
Why won't we be reactive?
You're always reactive. You always think every time you think you're in charge and can say whatever goes on in the building, but your hand's right there.
Why do you think we're in charge? Where does this come from?
You don't believe every time we do anything in the building, somebody complains about what we do, and most of the time the complaints come from you guys.
Right, and the reason that, for instance, the last problem we had was the alarm going off because they shut off the power.
You knew the power was going to be shut off.
Did not.
You know what? We had to change the power to it, and you know what? If it's an inconvenience, too bad. We improved what power comes into the building. Donnie, go sit down. You have not been recognized. Go sit down.
So, you guys do have the power to do that. But don't you think, as a landlord or anybody else, you would have the common courtesy to tell the one business, let me finish, to tell the one business that has an alarm system in the building that you're shutting the power off?
We left that the power would be shut off on everybody's business door, that it would be off for approximately 4 hours.
We never saw a single sign on our door.
The electrician and the pump company that did the switch over to get the power underground and get rid of the nightmare on the back of the building for power
here nor there.
was done that.
There was never any major complaint by that. Donnie went down and asked the contractor what was the scoop with the power. He went to the electrician, said, what's the scoop with the power? They said it'll be off for an hour. He went and turned the alarm off. That was all that was done. Then you two made a big deal out of it for some reason.
No, because Donnie was out. We got the complaint from the contractors about you guys bitching about we didn't have the right, that we shouldn't be doing this, and you need this done and that done. All I can tell you is what the contractors told us. And Donnie should have never been out in the construction area saying anything.
He was inquiring why our alarm was
in the building. I assumed when they told us that was the director of the Paleon that it was you.
No.
Well, it wasn't. But that's what we got from the construction meeting.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. We had to switch the power over because we got rid of all the power down the deal. And actually, we made power connections better in the building.
We don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's fine. But we're not. I have never ever thought that we are the numero uno over that building. We are a part of the building. Don't roll your eyes at me because I never have.
You do.
Whenever we've had discussions about that building, I have always included the other tenants, saying we are just a portion of this building. We are part of the building.
We're all given notice for the power.
We never saw it.
Well, it was done, and the company said that they put notes on everybody's doors.
That's a minor thing.
That's a minor thing, but we've been trying to come up with something, and then we'll talk with you. But like I said, maybe we didn't do it 100% right, but it's a two-way street. You could come talk to me.
Well, we couldn't have come talk to you about the power because you shut off.
You could have come talk to us.
We could have come talk to you about the power?
No, the power, no, but I'm talking about this move of getting all the rental spaces out of the basement.
That's why we're here.
That's why we've been trying to come up with something, because we're not trying to close the Paleon or the foundation or the museum. It's a very important part of the town of Glen Rock. I've always recognized that. I've always backed.
I will tell you honestly, since the town has bought the building, we have never, ever, from any mayor or any council member in this town, felt that we were important to this town.
I've been to your meetings and told you were important, and we kept the last mayor from throwing you in the street.
We feel that you went to those museums and lied to our faces.
No, I didn't lie to you.
Feel that you find us.
Well, if you think I lied to you.
Stuart, I'll disagree with you too. Because I sat up there and defended the Paleon.
Oh, I've seen that.
Don't say that nobody cared, because we did.
Mm-hmm.
There was 4 of us. The whole council defended
We hear the
you.
words, but we don't get the feeling.
Well, we don't get the feeling that you want to move forward and be progressive from you either.
I just outlined what we're doing to move forward. We've got 12 college students coming this fall.
Great. But what
we would have more if we had more housing.
All right, in 2011, when you got the building, if you want to discuss it, I think we're wasting time. You were supposed to go out and do fundraising and grant writing and help to do something with the building. If my understanding, that's why that was part of your lease.
The reason the town bought the building is because the Paleon could not find any grant monies because we were a private entity. Nobody would give us grants or monies to do anything with the building. So that's a lie. It did not happen.
That was what was explained to us back in 11, because that was why you got such a long lease, so you could go after that stuff.
We don't have a lease.
Well, you don't have a lease because
we tried
the lease
to get a
wasn't
long
legal.
lease and the town wouldn't give it to us.
Well, the lease that you got then wasn't legal. What was done?
Not our doing.
Well, no, it wasn't, and it wasn't this. It wasn't this council or administration that did it either.
To me, what happened 10 years ago in the sale of the building, every council and town member or mayor is just as culpable as the ones that didn't do anything there. The irony to all of this is if the town had fulfilled what they promised to the business council and us, that building would be done. That building would be fully renovated. There would be businesses upstairs. There would be businesses downstairs. It would look just like the Commerce Bar. The town had fulfilled their promises to us and the Wyoming Business Council. That building would be done.
And that was past administrations that didn't do it. That's
right.
water. That's water under the bridge.
I agree.
That we can't do anything about. And you know that as well as I do.
I agree. It's water under the bridge.
But we're trying to come up with something so you don't. You're going to feel a little pinch with size and stuff there, but we're still trying to figure out so we aren't trying to destroy you.
As long as we have a place to put these fossils safely.
Well, we're trying to come up with storage that's
not throwing it in a front loader and hauling it off somewhere.
No, that's not our plan, Stuart. We can't get a front loader in there. We're going to have to sit down there with our skid loader and load your heavy stuff.
Can't put them anywhere.
And bring it out and put it on our trailers. It's going to take the town Public Works Department and our cost to move you, and we expected that.
Yeah, and from our end of it, what we continue to do, like I said, we just have 12 students coming this year. Hopefully we'll have more next year. We've got up to 50 visitors coming every summer just for our summer gigs. Those are the programs that we're establishing and moving forward. Those are programs we didn't have 10 years ago. That's what the museum's doing. We are trying to bring visitorship and a different tourism to this town, creating diversity, which helps for a town in tourism and everything else.
What do you think the town square was built for? Was to bring the community back together and bring tourism people to town?
We're trying to do the same thing. We've always tried to do this. 166 volunteers did not volunteer at that museum to make money. They volunteered to do something big.
We didn't build town square to make money either.
Right.
Most of it's going to be free to the public.
What I'm saying is that you're trying to do some monetary, like we haven't been doing anything over the last 10 years. We've been sitting on our butts, doing absolutely nothing, enjoying our lattes, I guess, which we're not. We've expanded our molding and casting. We're doing more and more that way. We are expanding our programs.
And we know
all of that is bringing.
And we know that COVID shut you down for a good part of a year.
You know, even with COVID, we still did well.
Well, you guys
still
did work and stuff, but there's been complaints. There's been complaints about you, but it's both ways. But just know that we're not here to destroy you. Never have been.
I don't think you're intentionally wanting to.
That wasn't our intention. We just need to solve the problem and the liability at the back of the building, improve things there. That's why we moved Town Square there. It's a big improvement for the town, a good drawing card for the town.
Mm-hmm. So is the museum.
And with people being there will probably help be a better draw for people to come look at the museum.
And vice versa.
And if you get open, That's the big thing, is getting back open and running.
We're open 3 days a week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That hasn't been told to us, or it hasn't even been told to the tourism board that
we run
spends
limited
money
hours
to advertise you.
We run limited hours every winter, so we do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, unless there's snowstorms. We've always been that way. And, of course, COVID messed us up a little bit, so we had a lot more days off because of that.
Yep.
But then we run 4 day a week summer, just because volunteers are low right now. Once we can get our volunteers up, we'll go 5-6 days a week, as usual. But our dig program...
Yeah, we're not hurting the other 7 renters. They've been paying $48 a month. That's less than half of what they'd pay for normal.
Once again,
and we're
own that building and raise those rents anytime.
Well, you know, we could have raised the rent, but we haven't.
Yeah.
But there are offers for the building, and we get a reasonable offer for the building, we would probably sell it.
Oh, I would assume you would.
But I'm not here to throw you out in the street like our past administration was. We had Councilman Delgarn, Councilman Pop, Chase Amkinson, and myself very much supported you and still do.
Mm-hmm. I can speak for this council. I think we support you 100%.
Good.
We were never there to destroy you and kill you. That's never been the plan.
Well, this move would have.
Well, we've been trying to come up with a plan to help take care of that. Yeah, it's going to be a pinch and a little bit of an inconvenience, but we will come up with something.
Well, now that I know you're doing that, I'm more than welcome to be open to walk you down through every little bit of that and talk the logistics.
Well, we know it needs to be moved, and we know that you can't do it, so we knew it was going to have to be public.
What we were going to have to do was call other universities and have them come pick them up.
Well,
and that was going to be a pinch too. We don't want to do that.
Well, that wasn't
because
that's the first thing I said to Randy when we did the eviction notice was we need to do something for the bone depository.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the first thing on my mind. Where do we move you? What do we do with you? What can we leave there for a period of time before we move you somewhere else?
Mm-hmm. And man, this would have been so much easier if you had have said, instead of saying that to Randy, you said it to me. We need to do something with the bone depository. None of these people would be sitting here all ticked off.
Open communication, council.
Well, you know what? It takes a little time to figure out what we're going to do. And you don't understand everything else that's on our plate right now. As a council and as running the town and what we have to take care of.
I understand.
It's very busy here for the last several months.
But open communication would
Yeah.
have helped all this, right?
Well, you know, when the two-way street, Stuart could come talk to me too. All he had to do is walk up and say, hey. Him and I have seen, we've been face-to-face on several other things in the last since that letter went out.
The last time I came up and said to you, hey, and said, hey, why didn't you do it this way? You yelled at me for 5 minutes.
Well, you were the one blamed, so I left the blame.
All I said
I'll apologize
all I said
for that
was,
because
don't
you weren't the
think
one
we
that
would have
did do
given
it.
us
But you were the
notice?
one that was blamed by the contractor. That's all I'm going to say about that. But we've seen each other since, and since the eviction notice, you've seen me, and we've had you. We haven't had time to talk. We've been our time and the amount of time I spend away from my business, taking care of city business, what pays me about 3 cents an hour.
Well, and that's the difficulty I have. I'm in uniform and at work. I can't be doing museum business.
Well, I have to do city business whether I'm trying to get my work done or not, too.
Well, you don't have supervisors that will yell at you if you do it.
You want to bet?
He's so mean to me. No.
I get yelled at by department heads all the time.
Wait. The mayor does
Pardon?
the mayor does have people that he has to answer to. Everyone sitting there that is a part of this community is who he has to answer to. So yes, he does have people watching him. And what he's doing,
You know,
what he's
I've
doing-
always said if you're mad at me and you're talking about me, it takes the pressure off the rest of them.
There you go.
But we have a question. You know, I think your problem is you felt like that it was dropped on you. Obviously, the communication is lacking, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But he just told you that he don't want to close you down.
Right.
So there's empty buildings all over. Why aren't we putting those empty buildings?
They're working
to
on
use?
it. At least that's what he just said just now.
The flower shop right over there.
The flower shop building's not ours. We have to
Why
come up.
can't we buy it?
We can't.
That's all you need is another building.
To make it short, we can't be the largest property owner in the town of Glen, and we're about there now.
Okay, well,
But we own buildings that we can move them into. Yes.
and that's the plan that you're working.
That's what we're working on. Where can we put them that's safe storage and helps them out with that part of it so they don't give it away. It's going to be a little inconvenient. If we put you in the warehouse out there, part of that building,
We can
where
handle
it can be heated,
inconvenient.
you could do your molding there.
We've dealt with inconvenient for 27 years. We can handle a little bit more.
Yeah, and the space use inside the building up there ain't great. There's people got other stuff there that shouldn't be there, that should have been gone 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right now, the space we have down in for just the bone lockup is about 60 by 50 feet. Now, obviously, we can condense that down if we don't make it into a functional space. If we just stuff in there for now, and we're not.
well, we have buildings where you can go that we can house you unless something comes up and we do something else, the building sells or another business move in, because we do have the business council looking at business that come to the state for economic development looking for buildings. That building is specific, like the Sharps building is very specific for machining.
Yeah,
and the way it's wired, it's a very expensive building. It costs a lot to build, and there is an interest for that for businesses coming to the state of Wyoming, and we would like to reutilize it.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be another place we can put your bones for a while.
Right.
But we've been trying to figure out where we can move you, and I've talked to other people that need to get out that are renting space down there, and they admit that their storage locker there looks like they moved the dump in. And they got to get it out. And the concern was, can we get them out of there with the limited time and the construction around there? And we're going to have to adjust that with Andreen Hunt. Of course, we've got them stopped for what they're doing there till we get you out and everybody out of the basement and away from there, so we can close that in and do the work.
So the bottom line, to sum this up so that we don't have to stay here all night, is that you guys are going to work with us.
We're trying to do something.
We're going to work something out that will allow us to at least get those archived bones and stuff out of the basement. And
I wasn't going to move you out and make you sit in the street. That's never been my intention.
I just want to interject a little bit. You guys have been talking back and forth, but we knew this was coming. I didn't know all the stuff that Randy and the mayor have been talking about, helping you out. We talk amongst ourselves and individually. We were going to hear everybody out tonight, but I was going to make a statement, I think Margaret was too, that we 100% want to help you, and we were going to plan the same kind of thing that I guess the mayor's planning. We wanted to find a way to help you where we could store that, or actually find a building where your students could work. I don't want you guys to skip a beat with what's going to happen this summer.
For the summer, we could survive probably this summer doing the programs we're doing.
Okay.
Utilizing the upstairs and if possible,
I didn't know if you needed somewhere to work on bones.
We'll work out.
We're going to move.
If we can work out something within the workspace, which has access from the stairway rather than through the garage door.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem we have is we have a rather large compressor that runs all of our pneumatics and stuff. But that workspace is for molding and casting and that sort of thing. We can survive through the summer, and actually we can survive pretty well knowing we have a place to store fossils.
I know I can't speak for everybody on this council, but nobody wanted you out of your storefront. You want to keep that museum open for the public and the tourists to come in.
Mr. Mayor.
Put you somewhere.
Well, and I would almost guess that
that's just something we were going to talk about tonight.
Some of the thoughts you just don't understand the connection between that pile of bones down there and how it affects the upstairs. How that all integrates, and that's something that I'm more than willing to sit down in another venue and talk to you about.
I think we need to, as part of the discussion, can be talked out at a later time before you.
So if I can calm the group down from taking you across the street and hanging. No, I'm just joking.
Take your best shot.
We wouldn't do that. You know that. Is to basically say, you guys are working on this. You will work with me to figure out a way to relocate these fossils, at least temporarily, that will allow the museum to stay functioning.
We never meant to make you feel like you would never be functional. But we have to get you out of the basement.
And I will even own it that we failed on that, all of us. Because none of these people would be here. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't have been up till 8 o'clock last night doing
guys. We got a lot of other stuff to take care of.
So anyway, That's all I wanted, is as long as I know that, and we can work together to try to figure out a way to protect this archive and do right, then we're all good.
We never wanted your stuff thrown away or given away.
There we go.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Since we've resolved that, we're going to move on to new business. New business, the first item of new business is an open container permit for the Deer Creek Lounge for Deer Creek Days, I believe. Tammy, is there anything you want to say about this? Okay. We have the application. We have some of your drawings. I know that the Deer Creek Days Committee is working on whether or not we're going to close that piece of Aspen Street down there in front of between 3rd and 4th Street also for the open container walk back and forth in that part of town. I don't believe we have anything planned. There was talk about doing some stuff with maybe where alcohol would, open container would have went over into the park, but we don't feel there's anything, at least from the Deer Creek Days Committee and stuff going on, that there may be activities over there, but none of it would have open container in the park at this time. So we're trying to make that a little easier instead of just the alleyway down between the 4 Aces and the motel.
And we normally have like 4 to 6 security people.
Sure. Yeah, you guys have done well with your open outside down. We had no problem with that. We're just trying to see, Colter and I has come and talked to me tonight about that stuff that went on at the last Deer Creek Days Committee meeting and stuff about Aspen Street there. So and there's no real heartburn about that part of the street being closed. One thing would be happen if we get into a situation that would be emergency services, ambulance or fire, to be able to open the street up quickly and get apparatus in there if we need it. God forbid we ever do. We've been lucky during Deer Creek Days that we've had very few incidents that we needed to get emergency services through town. It's worked well. So if there's no questions about their outside open area for open container on their parking lot, I will call for somebody to make a motion.
I move we approve the open container permit for the Deer Creek Lounge.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, this one here. This one where you show the whole front of the building and the opening here, is that in anticipation that Aspen gets shut down?
No, they've kind of gone.
If that, okay.
Yeah, they've always fenced
This
off
one,
most.
if Aspen gets shut down.
They've always, in the past, with out of the alleyway, it went right into there, and they had most of their parking lot as their outside venue. But there isn't much of any heartburn about opening that one block area of Aspen for right there being closed off, so the open container can be moved through there. So, any other discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Next order of business is ordinance number 732, an ordinance to annex the Albaugh addition to the town of Glen Rock, whereas Melissa Albaugh has petitioned the town to annex her land to the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming, whereas reasonable evidence has been produced by the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming, indicating that the specific parcel of land herein meets the condition and limitations of Wyoming State Statute Title 15, Chapter 1, Article 4, in the Glen Rock Municipal Code, whereas the annex plat has been prepared, providing the legal description in said lands. Annex report has been developed in a summary of such, with the plat has been published in a newspaper and generated circulations 2 times. Whereas the area sought to be annexed is a local and feasible addition to the town of Glen Rock, and an extension of the basic and other services customary available to the resident of the town of Glen Rock shall, within reason and available to the area proposed to be annexed. She has water and sewer now. So, whereas the proposed annexed land shall be zoned R1 single family residence. Therefore, now be it ordained by the governing body of the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming, that pursuant to Wyoming State Statute and Glen Rock Municipal Annexation Code, the town council grants approval for annexation, passed on the first reading the 28th day of March 2022. Is there a motion?
I move that we pass ordinance 732.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do you want to add to that on first reading? Because it's
On
not-
first reading.
There has to be 3 readings. Thank you. Do you agree with that?
I second the first reading.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Get this thing to move. Next order of business is ordinance number 733, an ordinance approving the final plat of the Glenrock Town Square. Whereas the town of Glenrock intends for a final vacation and replat of Block 5, Lot 1 through 12, Block 4, Lots 16 through 22, Town of Glenrock, Lot 1, short simple subdivision 1, portion of the northeast quarter of Section 5, Township .33 North by R73 West, portion of the South 5th Street, and portions of Aspen Street created in a 4-lot subdivision, the plat, and whereas the plat consists of previous platted land located within the town of Glenrock, Wyoming, whereas the plat requires approval by ordinance following a public hearing, whereas a public hearing of the town of Glenrock Planning and Zoning staff recommends that the town approve this request to plat at the above referenced property, and whereas the governing body of the town of Glenrock finds that the above described plat should be approved. Now therefore be ordained by the governing body of the town of Glenrock, Wyoming, that pursuant to Wyoming State Statute and Glenrock Annex Code, the town council grant approval of this annexation to be passed on first reading, the 28th day of March 2022. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance number 733, first reading.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Next order of business under business. You had plenty of time to get here, Jim. It's approval of funds for the EDA grant money, and Margaret had a bunch of questions about it, and Jim was gracious enough to come up and speak on this to see if he can clear up anything about that grant application.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would have missed all the entertainment, so I got here.
Well, I'm glad we entertained you.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple weeks ago, I zoomed in to try to answer some questions on the EDA grant, and I know more questions have come up. In between, I've also had a good conversation with Coley Shadwick, fully on board with this from the school district number 2. They're really excited about what this potential should be, so I want to make that clarification. And Coley was hoping to be here tonight, but I think I've missed, he didn't be able to make it tonight.
Haven't seen him.
So let me back up just a step, because where this all started, of course, was when the EDA, I'm trying not to be too loud, I'll back up.
Oh, you're fine.
The EDA put out coal-impacted communities money, and that's where this whole idea started, is we would work with coal-impacted community money to try to find a way to help our communities. That still exists and is still out there, and we got together as the 3 of us, Douglas, Glenrock, and the county, and talked about ideas. The idea that came out of it that is the most universal is workforce training. With the shutdown of Dave Johnson looming, the coal jobs and the railroad jobs that would accompany that, and then the need for trades in our communities, what we brought together was the idea of this trade program through EWC in cooperation with School District 1 and 2. And that's what this council approved, I'm going to say about 2 months ago, was money to prepare that grant, up to $30,000. The good news is it's not going to cost the council anywhere near that amount for the grant preparation. We're coming in way under, and a couple other things that are factoring there. But as the grant got coming together more and more, we then learned that Wyoming got like almost none of the coal-impacted money. Ironically, Wyoming wasn't considered coal-impacted. Political discussion that's above all of our pay grades. So what we've got is this grant put together that hopefully will, what the project is now is you take it and you apply it to EDA as a whole, and they put it where it fits the best. It may fit under traditional economic development, it may fit under traditional education, it may fit under coal-impacted communities, depending on their guidance to grant writers is you write the best grant you can and we'll put it in the best spot possible. And if it doesn't qualify here, we'll move it to another one. This is what the regional directors out of Denver are saying. So what the grant program has created now is this trades program, and I can't define it specifically because trades is a moving thing, but we're talking construction trades, everything needed to help build a house, if you will. So you got plumbing, you got drywall, you got management, you've got electrical, you've got structural, all those things together. And then in conjunction with that, try to work with the school districts 1 and 2 to have, if you will, concurrent education that goes with it. So if you go through the industrial arts program in Glen Rock or Douglas, under the right criteria, you may be able to earn junior college credits there, the same as you do in English, math, and science now in both schools. And there are kids that can graduate with their associate's degree at the same time they get their high school degree and follow that full program. So that was the vision, and I know Margaret came to a couple of those meetings, Tammy came to some, and so it's been refined down to building an addition onto the EWC Douglas campus that will provide that physical space for both the construction room, if you will, so a great big shop, classrooms, and associated space that goes with it. That campus was always designed with expansion possibilities, and so it fits into that. It is about a $3.3 million project as they've done. Construction costs have gone up. I don't know if anybody's noticed that in the last 6 months.
No.
So it's about a $3.3 million project. And I think as I described to you previously, trying to get about $600,000. We were hoping to get to 20%, but I still think $600,000 is a good number. So we had $200,000 that would come from the O&M account that was part of the EWC 6 cent. When it passed, there was O&M money set aside, and there's still money there. So there would be $200,000 there. The county would put up $200,000, ask Douglas for $120, and ask Glen Rock for $80. And I'll be honest, that was Jim Willicks's math of us trying to allocate it on a similar basis we've done other joint projects. There's no great science to it. I'll be honest, it just seemed like it fit. All the other entities have EWC's approved the 200, the county's approved the 200, and Douglas has approved the 120. And so the question before you tonight is if Glen Rock would create the 80 that would be towards the 600. You're not spending it today, but the EDA does require that it be committed unencumbered funds. You would commit unencumbered funds of that 80,000 towards the match if we get the grant. If we don't get the grant, doesn't matter. And the grant has rolling application deadlines. We were hoping to get in by April 1st. That may or may not be practical, but that's the goal. And then there's rolling application dates, so it would sit out there for a while. So I hope in person I might do a little better describing than I did Zoom the other day, and I hope that lays out the big picture. There may be some specific questions I'll try to address, but that's kind of where we're at today.
Okay. Do you have questions for Jim?
Well, when would we actually have to put the money on the table? Do you have any idea? The next budget session, the budget session after that?
So EDA requires it to be committed as unencumbered funds now. I don't think it would be expended. It couldn't be expended until next budget session because by the time you get the grant, get approval, that's July 1, just in a heartbeat. So the soonest the money would be expended would be next fiscal year. But it does, by definition, needs to be committed unencumbered money now because they require you to say, so you're kind of saying next year's budget, we'll put 80,000 in that's unencumbered. But you would not be spending it, write the check until the grant's approved and we've hired an architect. I mean, that would be the first expenses would be those. But remember, it'd be 80 cents on the dollar. We're going to get about, and the math isn't perfect, it's about 80-20. It may come in a little closer to, if we're at 3.3, depends on how much the grant we get. That's what we're shooting for, is 80-20. I don't have that full math in front of me.
Do you have any idea at all when we might know if this money was actually going to be granted?
I'm going to guess it would be a 90-day process at a minimum. It's the speed of federal government.
So you'd be committed by April 1st?
Our goal is to turn in the grant by April 1st, and to turn in a completed grant, we need to know what our match is. So if you do it tonight, if you so vote to do it tonight, we just need to turn it into a resolution form. I think there's a resolution draft that Tammy has seen that says we got unencumbered funds and we support the project. If the grant writer can turn it around and get it all together, then it would go in shortly. One of the reasons April 1st is important, the EDA is going to change their grant application April 1st. Now, it's really just the 3 pages of the film blank, but that would change a little bit, not a huge deal. And the 90 days is entirely a guess by my point. I haven't asked Amanda, the grant writer, what that might be. And I'll let you do questions.
So if we were to go ahead with this program, a student could go to high school here in Glen Rock and receive part of this training here in Glen Rock and then go down to Douglas and receive the rest of this training and graduate with an associate degree to go into one of these trades.
So I don't want to get in front of my skis too far, but I believe you would have both the options of an associate or a certificate degree, because some of the trades actually do certificates rather than associates. But what they could do, and what Coley and I talked about the other day, I know Paige has talked about it in Converse 1, is that concurrent class. So if you took Woodworking 1 in Glen Rock, I don't know what industrial arts will offer, that could become eligible if we do some restructuring for college credit, same as your English in college. So that would be part of it. You would either use that towards, and if we do it right, those are transferable to any school in Wyoming, and that's part of the goal of the junior college system and the university is to make sure all programs are transferable. But yes, if you did the ideal situation to get your degree, you would do some in high school, transfer to EWC Douglas, and finish that degree or trade. But also remember, this is not just about high school students. Big part of the grant is the retraining of those people that are going to lose their jobs because of the coal-impacted communities. I mean, that's what started the discussion, but it's silly not to recognize that we got youth that need that training. Not everybody is going into the sciences and math. Hands-on work is they can't find a plumber's apprentice.
It's hard.
It's hard. They don't, and it's good business.
It's hard to find apprentices for any skill.
Any of those trades. And it's good. It's good work. It's hard work, but it's good.
So what would this cost a student if they went into this program? Financially, what would they be looking at to participate in this program?
So Margaret, I don't have that answer. My assumption is the same as any other college degree at the junior college. So you would pay X per credit as a full-time or part-time student. On the associate's degree, the certificate ones sometimes are a little different thing, because sometimes you can do a certificate in a shorter window, like 6 months of solid 5-day-a-week class. You can get certificate, and I'm a little bit speaking from a little bit of guessing and a little bit of knowledge there, so I don't want to give you that's the firm answer. But the welding program has both. You can get an associate's in welding, or you can get a certificate in welding, depending on what your career path and what you want to do is. And so they have. If you get the associate's degree, you also take some English, some math. You're supposed to have a little bit of,
required courses by the college.
Required courses, so you actually have a degree. And if you want to be in business for yourself, you probably want to take a business class or two. We've talked about that at EWC. If you're going into welder and want to hang up your own shingle, you don't hang up shingle, you hang up your own helmet in welding. You've got to understand business, the employees, taxes, payroll, all those things. So the idea is you also would have that ability to have some management classes. Now, that's not all defined yet, but those are some of the things we've talked about.
But this certificate that a student could receive, that would qualify them to get into a trade, or would it just qualify them to be an apprentice?
Yeah, it is a step towards that. It shows an employer that you have got basic skills and understanding, but licensing in the state for journeymen or apprentices or journeymen or masters are dictated by the state, and education, and most of it in Wyoming is still based on hours worked. But there is some classwork that you can do to get there, and I'm sure Bruce knows the numbers better than I do for plumbing, but they all have that step. But that certificate gets you, if you go to walk up to apply and they say you got a certificate, and you jump ahead of everybody else because you've got the basics and you're part
the basics down, and you've got hours in where it helps on your apprenticeship time of 3 years, and then 5 years as a journeyman before you can apply for a master's license.
So this is basically a great window of opportunity for the kids living in our communities to step into the trades and maybe start getting a good job that pays some good money.
That's my belief. For those that choose that path, we want to provide that opportunity, and the retraining of the hobbyists. It's, I built my own shed in the backyard. Now I've lost my job in one of the big three around here, railroad, coal, and the power plant. Is that an opportunity? Now, not everybody that's 55 and retiring or losing their job in those three is going to jump into these trades. Fully recognize that. But we recognize that we need a path for retraining and for new training in these skill sets. I think, Margaret, you did ask a little bit about Casper, and I just be clear, part of the reason we're partnering with EWC is because the state has said, and I say the state, it's the Junior College Commission, and I believe state law says the service area for EWC is Converse, Western, Crook, Platte, Niobrara, Goshen counties. The service area for Casper College is Natrona County only. They can't, by law, offer anything in Converse County. You can argue whether it's right or wrong. And EC has the largest geographic service area of any of the junior colleges. Western Wyoming's a little close because they got all the Sweetwater and that western part, but it's pretty much the entire eastern side is EWC outside of Laramie and Albany County. That's just the way it's set up, and so the law says you can provide outreach in those programs. That's why the concurrent classes are all through EWC and Glen Rock, not Casper. And I'm using the term law, maybe law, regulations, rules don't allow
Casper
that.
College doesn't offer those type of courses. They don't offer it here, but kids going to Casper College can't do that. Same way, they have the same construction classes and stuff up at the college in Sheridan. And, you know,
is Casper still have theirs, Bruce? Because I heard they have theirs back.
Well, they pulled back on some of their classes, but most of theirs are designed on the associates, not a certificate for like trade schools, which this will help down here. But you know, the whole idea I felt was the idea was for it helps our kids coming out of school, but the thing was for retraining, and that Rocky Mountain Power also made the statement that they wanted to help in the cost of retraining their employees that they hopefully they do, and the cost of training their employees for a different type of form of you know, a job. So we don't lose them people out of the state, and there goes your workforce.
There's a light bulb moment there. I'm sorry, but I had not thought that would probably be a great place for successful for some of the operating costs, because keeping instructors, materials, all that kind of stuff, that may be a path to reach out to Rocky Mountain Power. So we're doing our part. Now, you said you wanted to be part of it. They don't have to stand up a program. They just help fund a program we've got.
Yeah, they can help do something, because they've talked about.
Yeah, they have said they want to do it. How it looks, I don't know either.
We don't know what that will be when if it comes to true to form, of whether they totally decommission and close that plant. We don't know.
Or hybrids down to 1 and 2. And
we don't know.
There's a lot of what the unknown unknowns are.
There's a lot of unknown ifs there. Yep. We're all baiting on that, but the coal impact just kind of soured me when we offered things, because we're all of a sudden we're not a coal impact state, and we got $500,000 for the energy division and new building at the University of Wyoming. It was like, it just baffled me that we didn't meet what the federal government was even asking for, but. I guess we're not talking the same political party.
Yes, from the outside looking in, that sure seems to be part of the reason we're less impacted than southern Colorado.
Mr. Mayor, this looks like this is a definite win for the young people of our community. So I would like to move that Glen Rock commit $80,000 to back this grant application.
How about we say meet up to $80,000?
Up to $80,000. Oh, let's make it $80,200.
You know, we've committed some other funds to a couple things that we're going to have to do a budget amendment, because it wasn't in our budget this year. But if you want to make that motion, fine. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
Maybe we'll quit farming kids.
Well, I hope we quit farming our kids for the amount of money we pay for education for our kids in town. And, you know, high school wise and college wise here, and they all leave. We don't have a workforce here. We don't have a workforce to draw heavily from.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, and I don't know your processes exactly, but if the motion that Margaret made is appropriate to convert it into the resolution that's necessary. I don't know if it needs to say that, but if you'll convert it into that resolution format, that will be,
we'll pass putting that money. We'll let her put that together. It gives you the information you need at the county level that we're going to commit funds.
Okay. Yep.
And we can do the resolution at the next council meeting and make that.
I think he needs
so I would prefer.
Well, we don't have the resolution tonight, but if we've committed it here, we have to pass it. We just have to finish the resolution.
But here's the tricky part. I'm wondering, and it depends on your processes and your legal counsel.
You're starting to talk like a lawyer.
I know. Once in a while, at our level, we'll authorize the chairman to sign it once it's drafted because they know what it's going to say. Mm-hmm. If you're comfortable with that, then we could have it sooner. We wouldn't have to wait till mid-April to submit it. Okay. That's a comfort level you have to be as a council, whether you do that kind of stuff.
Is council comfortable with that? If our clerk writes up a resolution, and
it's actually already drafted, I think.
It's a fill in the blank.
Something that's simple. If we're going to commit the money tonight, that way you give me permission to sign it, so we give it.
Mr. Mayor, may I restate that motion then?
Yes, ma'am.
That we make the motion that we authorize the clerk to write up this resolution, that we are willing to commit up to $80,000 to this program.
Okay, there's a change in the motion. Is that seconded? Okay, seconded. You agree with what she has, so you don't have to spit that out. Okay, We've moved and seconded again. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Council Mayor.
You bet. Thanks for coming up, Jim. We appreciate you
Thank you, Jim.
coming and wasting your time. Okay, next order of business is bills and claims. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we pay our bills.
There's a motion to pay our bills. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any questions?
Just one quick question. It looks like there was some extensive repairs at the Deer Creek Museum. Was there a problem out there of some kind? Says we've got repairs for.
Margaret, what they did excuse me. They came and approached me. They did some necessary woodwork on that building that they brought down from the mountain on the cabin.
There was work on the Miller cabin.
Building,
So it was
the building itself in the museum's okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that was part. I think that was part of the budget for the year, wasn't it? It's just paying a bill that comes out of their budget.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on the bills and claims? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. I need somebody to make a motion now to move into executive session.
I move we adjourn to executive session.
Go ahead and state for litigation.
For
please.
litigation
Thank you.
purposes.
I'll second.
Motion, there is a second. Any discussion? Not, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Well, right now, I don't think we'll be long upstairs. If you want to stick around and have a question before we finish the meeting, that would be fine. Okay?
So I'll get it back.
Mr. Willis,
so much.
thank you for coming out.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Where'd my pointer go?
Sign your life away.
Sign my life.
Happy.
Somebody specific's fault, but that's all right.
Yeah.
And it was a very, one guy that I see we're working on
What's that? Call it elaborate plot.
Hey, the arms are not in the museum.
Kelly said, I want to be animal control again. Can you imagine? And Maya was good for life. I would tell them like nothing.
Okay, let's go upstairs.
This thing's updating.
There was nothing ever sounding
It says do not turn on.
I'm looking forward in the booth one of these being able to take some anti-inflammatories. As my arthritis is healing.
I thought that we were doing
Hollywood put the. All I never even saw the eviction notice. I had no idea they were thinking about anything. I didn't have any. Yeah, take away all of that, we're done. But all we needed was with that a piece of paper, just a little bit. Problem is, we're there 3 days a week. Margaret came down, and she had no idea what they were going to help. We talked to her Saturday.
Yeah, we thought in the beginning he was pretty opposed.
Yeah. Well, come talk to me. Got my number.
Anything that I'm going to do or try to do with the lighting that I'm going to do, it requires a very minimal construction. Like, I've got to add height meter, I've got to add it's not like the lights they gave us, or the mountains they gave us, smaller replacement amount of lights.
have to say again. If I guess I don't want to have that
What part would you like me to know someone's going to do as far as like Johnson the first year?
I text them like right now, so I'm out of town to talk about that. I want to close that.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, I just.
Like I said.
Like at the minimum, you can't get something like, I'm sure I can find some lights that like just literally set on like because I've got outlets all along those pillars. Literally, it's the speaker we had earlier is going to take up one outlet on either side, but they're not. Looks like they have four. So it's going to be. It could be something simple, like just pick up one of those, you know, like what you're thinking, like a wedding or something like that. They just it's on a stand and set them up, and we just shine them at whoever's there. That might be enough to get it done. That's, I mean, so that might be something, I'm just thinking out loud, so we might be able to solve that. And that's cool, I still want to make it so that, you know, he doesn't feel like I said that.
There's also something already. Yes, sir.
And I was like, put a bunch of koozies at the Yellowstone Garage and said, hey, come to town square. What's that?
You got to talk to the lawyers. We want that to be because they charge you.
I mean,
yeah, don't worry. I should have picked on my boss. You know my
like that at all. That, and you also, we do have it on radio and live recording that you said that this mob was threatening to hang people. So, I mean, so these people don't. I know, but you did throw it out there, and so I'm going to cut a super clip, and there's going to be a GIF of Stewart saying, hey, really like you're doing that to the camera. Right, yeah.
And I'm telling her that, you know,
we were talking about body cam and where to mount it.
I didn't know where to put it. And I said, you know, I thought about clicking it on my belt, but then it's, you know. I said,
you're always in the dog.
And then I kind of made this motion of doing this. It was on camera. I made a mistake of telling him.
So I went back and found it and made a GIF out of it. I don't have it anymore. I don't know if anybody still has it, but it was.
In there. And as I'm walking in, there's me. And we're holding this cup of coffee. Oh
yeah. You don't tell IT. Don't tell IT. We got cameras everywhere.
That was so funny.
first time I fall down off the stage.
Oh, anything. It'll be on camera.
Oh, you're the-
It'll be on
you're the-
YouTube.
yeah.
Wherever. Yeah.
The ice skating rink.
Oh, ice skating rink. The cameras for the ice skating rink are going to get worked overtime for everybody falling down and eating it. Yeah. Well, that's going to be a pretty expensive endeavor to actually do that ice rink. I'll be surprised to see if that actually ever happens. Just because by the time you do all the barriers, you know,
Full burial rail all the way down.
Paddock.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking $150,000, $200,000 to spend doing that, and that's just the. I mean, that's not even skates and rentals and sharpening and the maintaining. Especially if you put barriers up and stuff like that. Well, yeah, you're not going to run any equipment on it.
And then the other thing that we're talking about is that somebody has to somebody has to Yes.
Well, I don't know, does Dixie Station have
I never ice skate, but I roller skate. Roller skate, there's always people there. If you're going too fast, you're stuck in the system or whatever.
Right. I'm interested in Dixie Station. I swear I don't know if there's anybody at Dixie Station to watch. No, the plan is there's wiring in place for what's called a 72-volt system, and so it's like what you expect in like parks and stuff like that, the big outdoor cans. So it's not installed. That's in this year's budget. I'm going to try to budget for getting all that. Yeah, play music through there and set it up so that and actually the rest of the park and stuff like that.
You're going to work it, nice skate.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, we've got a lot of people. We've got a lot of. I'm surprised at how many kids we have that play on travel hockey teams and stuff like that. I mean, like in the area and travel to do it. Like, you might be able to get practice. I don't know how good it is or what the artificial. Stuff I've looked up is that it's slightly slower, but still gives. I mean, like it's 90% of the way. I mean, it's not. I still, other than the amount of effort it takes to probably put it up, I still think one of the coolest things would be to skate in the summer, like have summer, winter in July or in July, and set it up for a couple of weeks and just go and skate in the middle of the summer. That'd be fun. One of the skating shirts and t-shirts
today is they're going to have like 16-foot skate.
16 feet by 9 feet.
16 feet by 9 feet. That's what they do movie night and various things. Well, they're also going to do competition.
So, what happens, the library already does it. So they actually do it. And so what we've been talking with the library is doing the championships at Town Square. So they would go and do all their gaming there or whatever, and then come over there and do
I remember it's pretty mild.
I think like Mario Kart or whatever, like pretty obviously friendly stuff. Mature games out there. That's going to be the one thing. Is like
teams doing it.
As soon as we get something on there that somebody's offended by, that'll get the screen shut down. So Jared's going to be, it's all G-rated. Nothing. Super work come out of there.
They do a Jurassic Park. And then about the real things in Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
You guys need to
there's a lot of things.
Hey, how you doing?
Are based on
Oh, I'm sure.
Or they are hollowed. Things are actually and then there's some history to it, like Robert Wagner is the founder. That was the technical director of that. Even Steven Spielberg fought like crazy. Because Robert wanted factual stuff, and Spielberg wanted apologize.
Yeah.
So in I think it's the third one, there's a paleontologist, there's a hat, a beard, and all that young guy, and he gets killed.
Number 2.
This is the second one. He gets killed by a dinosaur. Well, that was supposedly supposed to be Robert Wagner.
Spielberg's killed him off.
I know the best part about this story. It was actually Jack Horner who requested that those two go at each other's throats for the each other.
Yeah.
So Horner thinks the T-Rex was a scavenger.
He's an active.
And so after Robert found that, he emailed
corner, and he said, "Told you he was a predator." Didn't know that part. Oh yeah. I didn't know that part.
Well, I'm going to commit a sin here and say that I've never seen Jurassic Park any of them.
What is wrong with you?
I've seen The Office like 700,000 times, but I've never seen Jurassic Park.
Have you seen any of the Marvel comics?
Some one or two.
Well, you have seen the kids that are old enough.
Yeah, we're just working through Lord of the Rings, so we're okay. We're
just working through the 80s,
right? No, the Lord of the Rings.
How does not simply work with more?
I've got 7, and so Maggie will be 13 this year, all the way down to the twins are 3, they'll be 4 in June. 5, 7. Oh, thanks. That's a party. It sure is a party. I'm one of 8. I mean, so I'm used to big family. My wife, it's her and her brother and sister, so it's a little bit different for her, but it's been great. It's been really good. We have all sorts of fun.
They're actually provided by the state.
So we're just getting old enough where we started the Lord of the Rings, and we're, the younger ones, because the issue is the older ones are, they're fine to watch it, but all the younger ones want to watch too, and so you gotta wait now. So unfortunately, the older ones have had to wait.
On the building, through the Wyoming Business Council, and the Wyoming Business Council wants to grow Wyoming. So there were certain things that the town needed to be doing when they bought that building, and then leading up to the eventual renovation and restoration of the whole building. The town didn't do anything. And it's none of these guys' fault. They weren't on the council. They weren't doing anything. At the time, Sue Dills was mayor and Casey was the planning person. And both of them just didn't do anything. Well, the Wyoming Business Council got wind of it. And they took them off. And they basically said, not only are we not going to give you any more CDBG money, for this project, we're not going to ever give you any more CDBG money. So that reduced a major grant.
Basically, got everybody.
And that's only available through the county, right? So if the building's sold.
Yeah, if the building's sold to a private individual, he's not going to get grants. So money that he does. Right.
on? Everybody live, okay. Ask for a motion to close the executive session.
I make a motion, we close our executive session.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those, any discussion?
Who was the second?
Gary?
You?
Come on, be on the ball.
Kelly just sent me a message.
You're earning your bucks tonight.
Lights were off.
Okay, if there's no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Is there somebody who would like to make a motion that we meet dollar?
I think there's more.
Well, we need to take care of another motion, then we can
okay.
adjourn, then take care of that before we adjourn. I think we need to take care of the, somebody like to make a motion that we meet dollar for settlement offer with a liability pool, LGLP liability pool for the state of Wyoming.
I move that we meet dollar for dollar with the liability pool for the state of Wyoming.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
This goes against my grain, and as probably most of you sitting up here, so.
Goes against my grain also. Everybody knows that. Everybody you can say what you want. It's how you feel. That's fine. Anything else to discuss? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. That takes care of that. Meeting's still open. Is there? You want to come up to the podium?
I guess I just have a couple quick things. I have concern. I've wanted to say a couple concerns a couple times. So, hi, my name's Samantha. Y'all know me. First concern is over watching past council meetings again, I have noticed one time when I came up here to speak as a citizen, as somebody that a council is meant to listen to, as a young lady here tonight said, mayor and council are accountable under, I was met with an "oh my God" remark when I stood up. That is very concerning to me. And very indicative of everything that I personally have witnessed in council meetings that I have sat in, including tonight. Tonight's fiasco was frankly ridiculous, and I understand that is a two-sided ridiculousness. However, there is a code of conduct within the town of Glen Rock's code. It's Resolution 2017-23. And essentially it clarifies that officials can ask for clarification but must avoid debate and argument with the public. Specifically, it says things like must be welcoming to speakers, treat them with care and gentleness, give the appearance of active listening, no disinterest, no facial expressions that come across as smirking or disbelief or anger or anything of that nature. And it is allowed to ask for clarification, but not to debate. Trying to avoid debate and argument with the public is what that ordinance states that mayor has to do. Also wanted to bring up, there is a United States constitutional case law, United States Supreme Court 1964 case law. It's New York Times versus Sullivan. And the judge in that case wrote, and I quote, "This nation is founded on the profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues shall be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials." End quote. This essentially means that I don't have to be nice to you. I mean, anybody out here that was pointed at in an angry fashion and told to leave, while others that interrupted in the same fashion were allowed to speak their piece. It's about a year ago, I think you guys remember the petition that I started to support council members in their voice that they had. That was absolutely in support of a voice that council has. It was also in support of the voice that the people have in electing and trusting you guys to take care of us as a town. And I can't help feeling like I really need to get the heck out of this town because it is so corrupt. Like, it just doesn't feel good. Anytime we come to one of these, there's a good thing here or there, you know what I mean? Like, cool, we're building a splash pad. But then we come here and we see people get yelled at. Human beings get yelled at for voicing what they are constitutionally allowed and protected to do. And it just...
And in these meetings, you're not allowed to talk out of turn, and that's why they got pointed at and asked not to speak or leave.
I understand that, but...
And I have a right to do that.
Other people were allowed...
At the very end of it, yes. They should have been told to get up and give their name and talk at the counter, at the podium.
Correct.
And that wasn't done. Correct.
Correct. And you also interrupted Mr. McCrary in a very argumentative and meant to cause discourse and personal, sometimes, fashion. It was crass and not because...
Well, I believe I have a right to state, when somebody attacks me, I have a right to state what I feel also.
You don't.
Well, yeah, I do, and I will continue to, whether you like it or not. Well, I'm just telling you I will.
According to your ordinance, you do not.
Just telling you, when I'm attacked, I have a right to voice my opinion. I'm a citizen of this town too. Yes, I'm an elected official, but I have a right to voice my opinion also.
Okay, so
let's just agree to disagree.
We're
not going to spend, Samantha, we don't want to spend the next 30 minutes debating this. You've read the ordinance to us. We'll read it, okay? What?
Because you are correct and nobody else is.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not going to debate it with you all night long. I don't want to debate it.
Okay, well, council, I've pointed out the ordinance that is never followed. I've given you the case law from the Supreme Court. Please, again, the petition that I wrote, use your voices. You are in charge here. There are 4 of you. There is 1 that makes decisions.
No, I don't make the decision. I'm 1 vote. I am. I'm 1 vote.
Okay. I will come back next time and pull up all of the times you told the council they did not have a voice in that.
There's certain things that how the town runs, that day-to-day operation is not part of their job. And that's in their job description. I don't have a debate with you about how that runs, okay?
Okay. Well, thanks for your time and for
Thank you.
For me. So.
Thanks.
And can I just ask, when I come up next time, that I not be met with, oh my God, comments, please. Like, I care about this town, otherwise I wouldn't be standing here saying this sucks, you know? So, thank you.
There's nothing else to come before the council this evening. I'll have somebody entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any no discussion? We'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.